Everyone loves a winner, at least that's what they say. So it's no surprise that wrestling has long been using the idea of undefeated streaks to help get new talent over. However, what happens when the music stops? Well, some wrestlers go on to have a great, well-defined career long after their streak ends. However, others find that without upward momentum, the rest of their career is an uphill climb. Now, some people are actually against the idea of using undefeated streaks to help book new talent. After all, shouldn't they have to pay their dues just like everyone else as they climb up through the ranks? And on top of that, there are also people who say, well, wrestling's fake, so being undefeated actually isn't much of an accomplishment. But for good or ill, it is the subject of this episode, because today, Dave knows 7 wrestlers that you forgot used to be billed as undefeated. Alright, number 7, Rusev. Now I know this streak ended relatively recently, but after a year of dealing with Twitter, TMZ, and of course WWE's current Superman, I feel a lot of people have forgotten that Rusev once upon a time was booked as an indestructible squash monster. After all, people have already begun to forget other parts of his career, such as the fact that he used to wave a Russian flag instead of a Bulgarian one, and the fact that he used to have a first name. Now, what's true for everyone else is also true for Rusev. When it comes to being undefeated, we're not talking about DQs or countout losses here. We're only talking about pinfalls, knockouts, and of course submissions. And even though Royal Rumble eliminations don't count against you, he did manage to put in a good amount of time in the Royal Rumble before his streak ended. And it did end at WrestleMania 31 when he got John Cena, and his career has limped on ever since. To quote John Cena's song, his time was up. Number 6. The Undertaker. Now, in contrast to the long-running WrestleMania streak, Undertaker's original undefeated streak actually didn't last very long at all. In fact, it only lasted for a few months. Now, the fact that he was billed as undefeated was interesting, seeing the fact that when he made his debut at Survivor Series, he was actually counted out and eliminated. And going forward from that November in 1990, Undertaker faced mostly jobbers and mid-carders. That is, until his first major feud against the Ultimate Warrior, where they had the first ever body bag match. And that's when Undertaker suffered his first official loss. But as I'm sure we all know, Undertaker's career did just fine. Number 5, Andre the Giant. Now, what's great about Andre the Giant's undefeated streak is that it's completely fabricated. But hey, Goldberg's undefeated streak is a bunch of lies and everyone loves that, so what difference does it make? Don't worry, Goldberg is not on this list. Now, going into the main event of WrestleMania 3, Andre the Giant was billed as someone who had never been slammed and has also never lost. Unfortunately, both of those things are completely untrue. In fact, the legendary Killer Kowalski is the man who actually gave Andre his first official loss, as I covered in a previous video. But as far as the WrestleMania hype goes, Hulk Hogan is the one that they tell you beat Andre first. Although nowadays, who knows, maybe they retcon that too. Yeah. Number 4, Bo Dallas. Since re-debuting on the main roster after a very successful NXT run and a quick flirtation on the main roster with the Intercontinental title before that, Bo Dallas was undefeated. Now, he didn't stay undefeated for very long, and his streak came to an end surprisingly by R-Truth. Yeah, they actually let R-Truth accomplish something. Surprising, isn't it? And his streak was used as part of his Believe gimmick, and unfortunately, as we can all see, his career has never been the same since. And it seems that a lot of people have forgotten about this undefeated time in Bo Dallas's career, almost as badly as he's been forgotten by WWE booking. Number 3, Brock Lesnar. Making a huge debut out of Ohio Valley Wrestling, he was billed as the next big thing from Paul Heyman. And he would go on to trample everybody from the Hardys to even Rob Van Dam in the finals of the King of the Ring. And by winning that tournament, he actually earned the right to get a title shot at SummerSlam, where he defeated The Rock and became the undisputed champion. And he would actually remain undefeated until he lost that championship to The Big Show. Number 2, Glacier. Yes, surprisingly high, but that's only because I'm pretty sure that people forgot that once upon a time he was undefeated. And I'm also sure that a lot of people just forgot who he was in the first place, so. Now, Glacier was a disaster. He wasn't even good in the ring, and WCW poured a ton of money into him, and they definitely didn't get their investment back. Now, they tried to book him in interesting storylines, and they kept his undefeated streak intact, just thinking he needed time before he got over. That day never came, and his undefeated streak officially came to an end at Bash on the Beach when he suffered a loss to Mortis and Wrath. And number 1, because I couldn't in good conscience put Glacier at the top of this list, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle in so many ways is justifiably the greatest professional wrestler of all time. His many great outstanding matches and his laundry list of accomplishments by far overshadow the fact that he was once billed as undefeated. While many wrestlers need that undefeated streak to define their career, Kurt Angle has by far surpassed it. But following his debut in the WWF, he did have a great run without ever suffering a loss. That is, until Madison Square Garden, the Royal Rumble, and a wrestler known as Taz. The Human Suplex Machine made his WWF debut against Kurt Angle and was victorious via the Taz mission. But somehow Kurt Angle convinced everyone that that was an illegal choke, and therefore the win was expunged from the record. Anticlimactically, Kurt Angle's first official loss came just a little while later on an episode of Monday Night Raw against The Rock. Well, there you go. That's 7 undefeated streaks you might have forgotten. Let me know in the comments what are some of your favorite undefeated streaks, and also what's your favorite way to end an undefeated streak? Is it with a well-established talent, or do you use the momentum to help get a new guy over? Let me know, and if you like this video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and also don't forget to share and subscribe. Thanks again for watching. This has been Dave Knows.